Well, good evening, everyone. We are so delighted to have you here this evening to share with us in our Read Across America celebration. The Southern area of the Links Incorporated, we do a lot of work around reading and are delighted to bring a young author your way today. So, we want you to sit back and enjoy this time we have together to honor a young author. But first, we will have words from our area director, Mrs. Vanessa Falls, who serves over the southern area, 7 states, and the Bahamas. Mrs. Falls?
Good evening, Southern area sisters, families, friends, and especially our amazing young readers. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to Linking Literacy and Life Virtual Story Hour, a beautiful collaboration between our services to youth and health and human services facets. Tonight, we're gathered not simply to hear a story, but to affirm something we know to be true. When we read together, we grow together. One of the signature initiatives I was honored to launch in the Southern area is I Read, You Read, We Read Together. This program reflects our collective belief that literacy is not an individual act. It is a shared experience. It is intergenerational. It is communal. It is transformative. When a child sees a parent, grandparent, or mentor reading alongside them, literacy becomes more than a skill. It becomes a bond. It becomes possibility. Tonight's story hour beautifully extends that vision. Through our Health and Human Services Linkages to Life programming, we understand that literacy is also a matter of wellness. Reading strengthens cognitive development, supports emotional intelligence, fosters empathy, and creates space for meaningful conversations within families. Stories help children process the world around them. They help families connect. They help communities thrive. This partnership between services to youth and health and human services reminds us that nurturing young minds and supporting whole child well-being are inseparable commitments. In the Southern area, we are intentional about addressing the educational, social, and emotional needs of our youth because we know that healthy readers become healthy leaders. As we enjoy tonight's featured book, I encourage each of you to lean in, ask questions, share reflections, and continue the conversation long after the screen goes dark. Let it be a catalyst for continued reading in your homes and communities. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for inviting your children, grandchildren, and neighbors. And thank you for helping us demonstrate once again that in the southern area of the Links Incorporated, we are truly connecting service to sustaining our communities, beginning with the youngest among us. Now, let's read together.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening. I have the pleasure of introducing Naomi DeBerry. Naomi is a 13-year-old author and organ donor advocate. Her book, My Daddy Needs a Gift, has been celebrated nationally for its vivid illustrations and plain language storytelling of a kidney transplant. She has appeared on The Tamron Hall Show and NBC News. And in August of 2025, she was selected to Time Magazine's first ever Girl of the Year's list. Naomi was the only girl on the list representing the United States in organ donor advocacy. The honor also included a mini figure of her likeness created by Lego. This past summer, she attended a medical science program at UC Berkeley with youth from across the country. From there, she went to Ghana and led a second line and donated books to a village in Cape Coast that serves women and children. Like the main character in the book, Naomi cares about the health of her family and community. Naomi loves reading, gardening, building things, and playing the violin. And she aspires to attend medical school and become, you guessed it, a transplant surgeon. Please join me in welcoming Naomi to share with us this evening an excerpt from her book, My Daddy Needs a Gift. Welcome, Naomi.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone watching, and thank you to the Southern Links Incorporated for including me in this opportunity and for allowing me to share a piece of what I've written with you all. My name is Naomi, and my daddy needs a gift. It's not his birthday, Father's Day, or a holiday. It's not a gift a person can buy at a store or online. My daddy needs a new kidney. Kidneys help filter or clean the inside of our bodies. Our kidneys are great cleanup helpers, but sometimes kidneys stop working, and that can make you really sick. Doctors say my daddy's kidneys are like batteries in a toy that stopped working. Daddy needs a new kidney to charge up his body again. Some people use a machine called dialysis when their kidneys don't work properly, but dialysis can only act as a substitute for a kidney that works correctly. People are born with 2 kidneys, but did you know that you only need 1 healthy kidney to live? One person can gift another person one of their kidneys. A person who gives a kidney to a sick person like my daddy is called a donor or a match. Guess what? A person can give a kidney away and both people can still live. Has your toy ever needed new batteries? Batteries come in many shapes and sizes, but finding just the right one can make your toy work again. Doctors are always looking for donors or a match to help sick people find a new kidney that will work like a new battery in a person's body. My daddy needs a kidney. It's scary to think about. I tell Mama I'm afraid. We pray as a family every day that Daddy will be okay. Daddy needs a gift to help him feel strong and ready to do the things we used to, like riding bikes or flying kites at the park. 1 kidney can help save his life. I need everyone's help to find my daddy's gift. Excuse me, Mr. Lopez. Can I post this sign in the library window? At the library, people signed up to be tested to become a donor, but in the end, there was no match. Good morning, Mrs. Jackson. Can you post my Give Life sign on the school bulletin board to help my daddy find a kidney donor? My community helped me post signs trying to find my daddy's donor around the neighborhood, in my front yard, at church, the library, and at school, but still no donor. But one day, our cousin Aisha was tested at a hospital and matched everything on my dad's kidney list. It was like getting a perfect score on a test, or like the right size battery. Finally, yay, Daddy will receive the gift he needs. And I will stop us right there. Thank you for listening to my book is available at naomicreatesjoy.com. And if you order it there, I will be able to personally autograph it for you. Thank you.
Naomi, thank you so much. We know that we don't want any spoiler alerts, but we can't wait to finish your beautiful book. My Daddy Needs a Gift with our family and loved ones. My children are sitting here reading right along with you and so inspired. So I just like to get to know you a little better and let our viewers get to know a little bit more about you and this incredible story. It's clear why this is such an important story to tell. But tell us a little bit about what motivated you to make it into a storybook for children.
This was the book that I wish I had when my dad was going through his kidney transplant process. And I wrote it out of a way to help me cope. Never did me or my family think that it would turn into something so big. But I wrote this book to help other kids like me, to help them cope, to help them have a little comfort in that time that might not be so easy for them, especially depending on what age they're at. Like I was 6 years old when my dad was going through this. So it was a really challenging time. And also, intersecting with that, COVID-19 was just starting.
Oh,
And so
wow.
that essentially caused us to live in a double pandemic. And so that was a lot of stress on, I know, especially my parents to make sure that my dad was staying safe, but for me, that I was staying safe as well. And so I wanted to write this book to help other kids have maybe a slightly easier time dealing with their loved one being sick.
Naomi, I love that. That is so generous and kind and thoughtful of you to share your story because things that are this challenging are not always easy to share. And I love that you've modeled, not just for young people, but for all of us, the process of writing through our challenges and things that are difficult for us to shoulder as a way, as a means of therapy and hope and just surviving through life's difficult circumstances. Can you tell us a little bit? I'm sure, again, that so many of us are inspired, right, to write our realities. Tell us a little bit about the process of your true life story becoming a book and what you learned in that process.
Well, I was born into my dad's kidney disease,
Mm.
and it lasted for about a 10-year span. And so when I decided that this was something that I wanted to do, when I decided I wanted to write this, I realized I couldn't put 10 years into a children's book. And so I decided on the point of his transplant journey that I really wanted to hit and target. And that was towards not necessarily the end of the journey, but the days, the months leading up to that transplant itself. And so once I had my main bullet point, I just kind of took it all from there. And I give a lot of credit to my parents because they really did support me in this. And they really helped this idea that I had not just stay an idea, but actually become a reality. And after I finished writing the book, next was illustrations. And we did the illustrations online. So the illustrator, we would never know her if we saw her. But her dad actually had a heart transplant.
Oh my
And
goodness.
she felt very connected to be able to illustrate a story that she could relate to in a way. And that after that, the book, we had to publish it, and then I have it here in its physical copy and form.
What a beautiful origin story to a book that is very honestly a gift itself to so many readers and families who are experiencing the same circumstances. And I love how you describe building community with your illustrator with this shared experience. And for those who are viewing with us, if you have questions for Naomi, feel free to populate the chat. We'll choose a few of them so that you can connect and build community with this brilliant young writer as well. Naomi, tell me this. Did you learn anything about yourself going through the process of taking your family's struggle into something so inspirational?
There were quite a couple of things that I learned, especially after time hit and everything. And one of the things that I realized that's kind of an unfortunate lesson, but also a good thing to learn is that not everybody is going to be happy for you.
Ah,
And that includes both kids and adults. And so that was really a struggle that I kind of had to realize through all of this, God is still in control, and so He's
yeah.
still the head of my life, and so when I had to think about that, that kind of pushed all those other worries to the side. But another thing that I did learn about myself was to believe in myself
Mm,
and to have confidence, because I remember right before my book had gotten released, I was really scared and nervous to publish it because every single book that I have read, and I'm an avid reader, have all been by adults. And
yeah.
so I wasn't really sure that people would take my concern and my story as seriously as they have. And I'm very blessed and thankful that they have received it in such a positive way. But it really taught me to take that next step, take a leap, because I can land right where I wanted to land. And so that was something that I learned, and that I realized I can do this. I can believe in myself and believe that God will help me with that.
What a beautiful takeaway from something that probably started out pretty scary with your dad needing an organ and your family going through this during COVID-19, which was a scary time for a lot of us. For you to pull such an inspirational takeaway from that circumstance, I think is really remarkable. I just want to let you know some of the love that's coming in the chat, that you are absolutely beautiful, 100%, that you are a bright and shining star, that the world needs you. I couldn't agree more. You wrote a children's book, but I know that adults that are listening and who will watch this afterwards are going to be so encouraged and heartened to chase after those dreams that we let kind of falter and get quiet, and really know that we can do the things that God is helping us to do as well. So thank you for inspiring young and seasoned readers. There is a question in the chat about buying the books. Listen, I'm going to tell you everywhere that you can pick up this young lady's book. I have several copies in my home. My children were reading along right with you. Naomi, tell me this. You want to be a transplant surgeon, which we can't wait for you to be a dynamo in that field. And I think you've got a whole lot of new adopted uncles and aunties and cousins who are just cheering you on because of how you have inspired us with your bravery and your courage. But tell me about how writing perhaps has inspired you to keep literacy and reading and writing as a part of your journey towards being that surgeon.
Ever since I can remember, I've always been reading, whether it's before I could start to read, when my parents could read to me, then I started reading. And I just love reading. I love learning. And reading has always, I know it definitely helps me with my literacy. It helps me with my vocabulary. It helps me
Absolutely.
improve my cognitive function. And I think one of those things that I can really carry with that is it helps me strengthen my vocabulary. It makes me a better speaker.
It
It
does.
just it gives me so many skills that I know I could definitely use when I become a transplant surgeon.
I love When I Become a Transplant Surgeon, who is already going to be a published author before she even hits college or medical school. That's what we call hashtag goals. Naomi, last question. What is the main takeaway? We know that there is inspiration and healing in writing through and telling your story. But what's the main takeaway you want readers of every age and demographic to have from your book and the journey that you've shared?
I want people to know if there's something that you feel is right, if there's something that you feel that's important to advocate for, you should do it because you can really make a change no matter how big or small. Every time you are informing someone about it, you can help make a difference and really put a positive change in somebody's life.
Well, you have more than planted that seed with all of us, not only those of us watching tonight, those of us who are running to the website to purchase those personalized copies and keep them as a reminder that a challenging circumstance can bud into a beautiful moment of hope and inspiration. We thank you for everything that you have done and you aspire to do. We need more Black female transplant surgeons. So you're even talking about healthcare equity in this journey of sharing what your family has encountered and what your family has come through. Naomi, thank you for sharing your hope with us. Thank you for the inspiration. You truly have planted a seed in readers young and seasoned that just the smallest effort can make the most dynamic change, positive change in our lives. And you've also reminded us that literacy and life are inextricably linked. They are together. And so I want to thank everyone else for joining us tonight, for hearing Naomi's incredible story. We can't wait to read this over and over again. There are many questions in the chat for how you get access to this incredible read. And there are 3 ways to do that. You can scan the code and go directly to Amazon, which we know that can get it in your hands, maybe even before you wake up in the morning. You can grab copies there. You can also go to Naomi's website, which is NaomiCreatesJoy.com. NaomiCreatesJoy.com, which you absolutely do. There couldn't be a better web domain for your work and your contributions. And there you can get a personalized copy from the author herself. We also encourage you to go to your local bookstores and request that they order hard copies and paperbacks in your local bookstores. Some of the comments say that we need to see these in medical waiting rooms. We do. We need to see them in elementary school. So help us stock the shelves with Naomi's book. Listen, Naomi, I can't think of a better way for us to have celebrated Read Across America Week than from hearing your beautiful voice and your beautiful story. As I said, your book is a gift itself. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your family's story and your incredible gift of writing and storytelling. And thank you all for joining and watching tonight. Share this book, what you learned tonight. Go to one of the 3 ways to purchase, and let's support this young writer and her journey so that we can see what she does next. Thank you, Naomi.
Thank you. And I do want to give a shout out to our donor, Aisha. She is just one of the most incredible people that you could ever meet. And I'm so thankful that we were able to have her in our lives and that she was really able to help save my dad's life and so that he can still be here with my family. And so it's really just such a blessing. And we thank her for her life and everything that she has contributed. And we just thank her.
I'm glad you gave that shout out, Naomi, because Aisha is a great family friend to my family as well. And she truly is a living, breathing, earth inhabiting superhero. So we are grateful for her gift as well, and that we get to share in this joy with your family and look forward to these joyful moments in our journeys as well. Thank you everyone for listening and reading along. Thank you, Naomi. We absolutely adore you and wish you the best. Go get your copy of My Daddy Needs a Gift. Thank you and good night.